It's the George Plaster Show. 30 years of the best sports talk in Middle Tennessee. Featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer Watson Brown. And it's a shame it's taken this long to get an introduction for this Tennessee Sports Hall of Famer, Kelly Holcomb, along with young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in on what is one of the best days of the year for me, the opening day of the Last Minute Toy Store. We are broadcasting from a huge warehouse that Sheriff Darren Hall has allowed this charity to use. There is Sheriff Hall. He's going to join us here in a couple of minutes. And I'm going to let all of you see. Billy, before we bring Terry up, kind of show people a little bit of what goes on here. They're announcing right now that somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,500 kids have already gotten Christmas toys because of what has gone on today. For me, it might be as good a day in the year as we can have. This is why we put the effort into the Plaster and Friends bowling event, to be able to turn over some money to Last Minute Toy Store to buy all these toys. It is absolutely the most incredible thing you're ever going to see. And I hope over the next 2 hours you come to appreciate what I have come to love. Let me say hello very quickly to Terry McCormick, his Daily Titans update, brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady. And through the folks at USA Mortgage, that is absolutely possible. Dial her up, 615-969-4350. Let's check in with Terry McCormick from Main Street Media. Terry, this is why you get embarrassed in bowling.
Yes, it is, George. It's for a good cause, for sure.
It's unbelievable. And I wish everybody that has been a part of the bowling could actually see it, because I think they'd know why I have the passion that I have. But let's bring Terry back up here. Terry, what's going on out at the Titans as they're less than 48 hours away from the matchup with the Texans?
Well, an interesting development has taken place here in the last hour, George. We met with Mike Vrabel, and one of the guys that he ruled out for the game is defensive lineman Tier Tart, who's been missing all week due to what has been labeled on the injury report as personal reasons. And then a report came out that Paul Kaharski threw out there that said that the Titans are planning on releasing Tart. Now, there have been times in his tenure here, especially this year and in years past too, where they've not been pleased with the conditioning shape that he's in. They were not pleased that he missed a couple of games with a toe injury and things like that. He did not practice last Friday, but he did play in the game Monday night in Miami, and then he went missing again this week. So an interesting development here, because they're already short on the defensive line with Jeffrey Simmons out, Kyle Pecco going on injured reserve. So if they are releasing Tier Tart, this is not the most opportune time to do that.
Terry, this sounds like it must have really come to a head, because you're right. Right now, the last thing they can afford to lose is a defensive lineman who's got some traction, and he certainly has had that over the years.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, he's going to be an unrestricted free agent this year, and in my mind, at least in terms of play on the field of their unrestricted free agents, other than maybe Derrick Henry, he should have been one of their top priorities to re-sign, but instead looks like they're going to part ways a little early. And in doing so, it makes you wonder what Tier Tart's situation too is going to be moving forward as he tries to find a new team and a new location to play, and has to now explain why he got released by a defensive lineman needy team like the Tennessee Titans are right now.
Do you think any of the teams are going to care? My gut feeling is he'll get lapped up within 48 hours.
He could be. I mean, he could be picked up off the waiver wire if he's let go today, like the report seems to indicate. And if he's picked up off the waiver wire, then somebody will have him for the next 3 or 4 days. I would think that it would be, if you're just going to rent him and not try and extend him and just claim the contract, then it's probably just going to be a situation where only a contending team would probably want to, stake a claim for him on the waiver wire. If you're the Carolina Panthers, who are first in the pecking order, why would you pick him up if there's no way to extend him and knowing he's going to be out the door in 3 or 4 weeks? So if the Titans are moving on from him, I would look for a team that's in the Super Bowl hunt, maybe the Philadelphia Eagles. That's where he's from. That's where all other Titans cast-offs seem to wind up. Maybe they would put in a claim for him.
AFC North, almost.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. Amazing. What else, Terry? Anything else?
Well, DeAndre Hopkins needs only 102 yards to get 1,000 yards receiving. And Derrick Henry is also closing in on 1,000 yards rushing. So a couple of milestones out there for the Titans as they go through and play out the string here in the 2023 season, a couple of personal milestones. And also, since Will Levis has taken over as the starting quarterback, the red zone accuracy has gotten a lot better. They have been 10 of 18 in the red zone with touchdowns since Levis took over. They were only 7 of 21 before he was in the lineup. So a big step in the right direction there for this offense.
Let's keep our fingers crossed that it continues Sunday. Terry, as always, appreciate the good work.
All right, thanks.
Terry McCormick's Daily Titans Update brought to you by Lori Burnett Leland. She wants to be your mortgage lady, and through the folks at USA Mortgage, that absolutely can happen. You just dial her up, 615-969-4350. Billy, if you will, kind of show a couple of the sites again of what's going on here. We are in this gigantic warehouse where you can see things like girls 0 to 3, boys 0 to 3. Behind us, the 4 to 10-year-olds. So the parents come in shopping for their kids, and they're allowed to pick out toys, thus the name, the Last Minute Toy Store. When I first started volunteering here, it was at a small church at 46th and Charlotte. And God bless those people for what they did to get this thing going. But when Dale Roble took this over, he got an assist that he probably never saw coming from the guy you're about to see on camera, and that is Davidson County Sheriff Darren Hall. He's in the red. He looks better than I look in the green. Sheriff, how you doing?
Man, I'm doing great, George. You and we look good. We got red and green at least.
Oh, yeah, we're very Christmassy.
Other than our faces, our colors look good. But no, man, how can you not feel a little better about yourself and your community and the situation, other than maybe all the noise? But that means there's activity going on.
Oh,
but
gosh.
It's like yourself, growing up around town and seeing a lot of charities, and I'm surely not picking one over the other, but this gives you a little bit different feeling as it relates to seeing the families who were desperate, quite frankly, and to watch them walk up and know they don't get handed a toy. They get to actually pick out what to take home to their children. And I just have always felt some emotion about that. I get to feel it just sitting here, and I don't know. I just feel better about our community and the people who are out here helping every year when I'm here.
How did this happen? Because I'm guessing Dale expressed to you, man, we have outgrown what we've got. We need some help.
Yeah.
Talk me through your decision to do this.
George, this is interesting too. So we have a mutual friend who owns a lot of the bars here in town, been active. Steve Ford is his name, a great man, a great person. We had a mutual friendship, and to be honest with you, I don't think anyone would be bothering me telling you this. And it's Steve's basically deathbed. He had a very serious illness at one point, and Dale was his spiritual advisor. I was a lifelong friend, and so he came out of his medical situation, and we went to lunch just to have a lunch with three people who I didn't know Dale well, but I knew him to be the guy that Steve leaned on spiritually. So we had lunch. We're sitting there, and believe it or not, you remember these years. The sheriff's office used to do a thing called Sober Ride.
Oh, sure.
We'd take people to and from, try to make it safe holidays and all that. And we've spent 30 years doing that. But to be honest with you, I wanted our agency to get involved in something that had a little more meaning to the children and needy people in Nashville. And so we didn't plan this, but as we sat through the lunch with Steve Ford, that wasn't the purpose. Dale mentions, man, we're looking for something. And I said, we're looking for a charity to put our arms around. And it was not the plan, but we left there that day literally and drove. And Dale and I have become very good friends. And Steve Ford just left here and, donates all the food to all the volunteers.
The food, by the way, was terrific. That is a huge donation to feed 1,000 volunteers over a 3-day period.
And I called Steve. I missed him, but I called him a minute ago and thanked him for that and said, look, and he said, you called me, you run out of food. And I just, you can think what you want, a little divine intervention if you ask me, but Dale's world and needing space, we needed to put our arms around something. We got, as I call it, we got married in an organization and a lot of our staff volunteer. Our space is here, but it's a machine that works year round, George. You've known that. You participated with it, and it's as you and I, or you put on. I was there at your bowling event. It's a huge deal to pull off something like that, and this takes a lot of work.
So the thing that most impresses me, I was here at 6:45 this morning, and your group was bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, which is more than I can say for me. And, I talked to several of them who expressed that this has become, who knows what it started out as, but it's become a labor of love in the sheriff's office.
Yeah, so George, that's the thing that I get chills about a little bit when you were talking about it. We where we're sitting in 2 weeks is a massive warehouse and laundry and support services for all the jails in Nashville.
Right.
So that's a lot of work. And so where we're sitting would be our supplies and clothing and all sorts of things that we use on a day-to-day basis. So to shut this down and to flip it upside down and turn it into what almost looks like a mall in here is a lot of work. And so the people who do that, who live out here, take a lot of pride, I think, in looking forward to this week of these events. But it's a year-round effort. We do things where you can wear blue jeans on Fridays and donate money. If you donate the money, that turns into the cards, and all the cards are here for the teenagers. And so we didn't want just a week-long venture. We wanted something that kind of had some lasting effect. And so it's turned into this year-round. Someone just shared with me a story that there's 20-something volunteers in there earlier at one of the shift breaks and said, how many of you, are here for the first time? There's only like 4 of them. I mean, 16 of these volunteers have come back, and there's a lot of people who look forward to doing it. And I just, I don't know. I could not have dreamed, or I don't think Dale would either, that the marriage would be as solid as it is, and the outcome. I mean, there'll be 6,000 kids.
It's unbelievable.
That's a lot of people. And look, but I want you. I mean, I was at an event that you put a lot of work into.
Were you a good bowler?
Hey, the funny part was my bowling, but the cause was amazing. And there's people everywhere squirting out both sides of the bowling alley from 6 till midnight. And I was with some old friend, Matt Freege, who God knows was a great basketball player, but he's probably about like me in bowling. So
he's not as Let's make sure that Freege gets that.
Got it. And I had guys, so many people. I enjoy it. Ronnie Borghetzi's a buddy of mine, and you see so many people, and I love that event too. A lot of different
people have come to love that event.
Oh my gosh! And I've told my mother, who will be here tomorrow volunteering, but she loves to bowl or loved to bowl. When I was growing up, and I was telling her about it. I said, "Man, it's amazing how many people are involved." And I also know how much work it takes to put on any event. And so you've done a great job, and the money made was amazing. It's and by the way, that's the whole thing.
Yeah.
These aren't used toys. These are all brand new.
It's beautiful stuff.
That comes from the money and the work that goes in year round. So it's the bicycles are rolling out, and there's every kind of thing in the world inside this place. So
you want a funny story about all this? So 2 weeks before the event, Billy's listening to all my complaining about putting this thing on. We're trying to do from 3 to 5 p.m. that day an underprivileged kids event where Last Minute Toy Store and Outdoor Lighting Perspective saw to it that each kid got a football and a basketball. And it was great. We fed them. They all got shirts. It was wonderful. But 2 weeks beforehand, my attitude was not the best. and our priest at Holy Trinity Greek Orthodox Church had given a sermon about God loves a cheerful giver. So I went up to him afterwards. I said, God has not been getting what he wants. I said, I've been a royal pain in the butt. And I said, I've got to clean up my attitude a little bit. I said, I know on the night of, it's something really special. But man, the putting it on.
Oh man. Oh. Well, you deserve a ton of credit, and I mean, like I said, I have done many events or participated.
Does this mean you'll come back next year?
I will be there. Like
Good.
I said, my bowling needs a lot of work, but other than that, you and I have participated in my own life of putting on golf tournaments. And
Sure.
It is a ton of work,
Oh,
no matter what
is.
you do. And let me tell you a cool story you'll appreciate. I'll fly through it. I went to Antioch High School right around the corner when I was growing up, and one thing leads the other. I was driving down the road a year and a half ago and was flipping around on some podcast or something, and I heard this. I have a young 30-year-old son and a 22-year-old son, and so somewhere through them I may have heard this name before, but the name Jelly Roll sparked out. Now, understand, I promise you most people didn't know who that was when I heard it. And
Billy knows.
Well, and he Billy's a little different in age than you and I, so he could say. But I will be honest, when that was said, and by the way, some of the music that my sons had shared with me, I wouldn't be so proud of. Right? This has been 2 years ago before all the stuff, and I wasn't really into all of that. But I was driving down the road and I heard on this podcast Jelly Roll talking about his life. He went to Antioch High School for a short time. Obviously, had some trouble in his life. Everyone knows the story. He actually did time about 100 yards out that door right there and was in room 223. And I knew when he starts talking, I knew where he's talking about. He said, I was in 223 in May 2009. The officer knocked on the door and said, you had a daughter last night. And
wow.
The rest of the story is what we all know. He gets up, he goes and gets his GED while he's in there, and obviously had musical talent. The point I wanted to jump to, if you don't mind, we got to have a relationship with him over that story. I reached out to him. He came and shot a documentary down here. Just CBS This Morning was here this week down here doing it. But that's not important either. While I was walking over here a few minutes ago to sit down with you guys, Jelly Roll's 18-wheeler truck just backed in here and dumped off, I believe it was 10 skids of toys that wasn't
Big old
playing.
Crates full.
Just rolling off here. And again, because this reputation of this place and what it's doing for people at the last minute, it just, I don't know, it really moved me. And again, I don't know. I just think the reputation of what people are seeing, and think about that. Last minute means you don't have a lot of other alternatives. I mean, this isn't a shop here or somewhere else. This is your last choice. I just feel really good about it. Credit to Jelly Roll or his people, whoever, but everyone who's done so much work to make it what it is.
So what I've told people, because you were trying to express it earlier, you walk out of a day like this and really you have Christmas spirit.
Yes.
Because let's face it, it's different than when we grew up. It was all about us.
Yes.
What toys are we going to get? And now we've reached a point where it's not about us and it should be about helping other people.
Yes.
Well, there's nothing that helps people like this thing does.
No.
I mean,
and I think you just hit it there. I know this sounds corny, but there's a spirit thing, and I do the thing once a month on Channel 5, and Nick Barris, I've been doing that for 20 years, and so he tells a story, but a guy who's just like you, a public figure who does a lot of different things around town, but he says, I came here 2 or 3 years ago just to volunteer and handed out stuffed animals. I look right over there.
Right.
He texted me a couple of days ago and said, I'm having sinus surgery, and I'm not worried about the surgery. I'm not worried about the medication. I'm not worried about the recovery. I'm worried about I'm not going to be able to get out there and volunteer. And his point, and he's told me many times, he said, it is the most rewarding feeling of giving back. And
at Christmas.
It is. And I know it sounds silly. There's many good things going on for people that are helping. I just think when that family walks through that door right over there and they see the potential that they're going to be able to provide that wasn't going to be here, and you and I could go buy it. These individuals wouldn't have this without it.
Billy, if you will, show that corner over there, and and the sheriff and I will talk through this. At that door, people will walk in. You may see that sheet of paper.
Yes.
And what ends up happening is that a volunteer will take that person. That sheet of paper has their age, the age of the kids, and then they take that and they go to the respective areas. Now, what they also get is a stuffed animals section to our right. There's a candy cane section.
Yeah.
There's a stocking stuffer section. And there are now something like $65,000 worth of Bibles.
Wow.
That Dale Roble and his wife raised the money to do. I mean, if there's anything like this, I've sure never seen it.
No. And George, a couple more stations that the bicycles are amazing because, and a lot of kids, of course, that's a big item. Also, I like this too. I'm looking right over around the corner. There's a young man who played high school football here, is now playing at Princeton. I see some of the Vanderbilt baseball players who show up out here. I see high school kids who volunteer. There's a man who works in the sheriff's office, I just walked by here, who hardly can walk. And what I'm saying is there's a lot that the individuals get out of this, but it's also about giving to people who can't afford it and wouldn't be able to do it. And I always kind of, I've jokingly told some of the folks on the board of Last Minute Toy Store, the bags of the stuff. I mean, by the end, it looks like the old image of Santa Claus because the bags get so full and they're carrying these bags out. And again, if you have 3 or 4 kids, that's 3 or 4 times, the bags.
I had some trouble at 8. Well, I guess it was more like about 10 o'clock. The first bag I got, I need to get in the weight room, and maybe Kelly might be right. Maybe I do need to work on that.
Well, it helps everybody here. It's not just the kids getting the gifts or the parents that are able to provide. It helps you and George being able to, maybe put a smile on your face. It helps everybody. Everybody gets something out of it. That's what I love.
Well, I'll give you, everybody's got a story. And for me this week, Frank Wycheck's death has hit me like very few things, because Frank and I did a lot of stuff in that first 6-8 years that the Titans were here.
Yeah.
And this is not one that I've just been able to easily say, well, I'm really sorry, we move on.
Yeah.
It hadn't been that easy. And this is the one thing this week that has kept me pretty upbeat in spite of that. And I know what when you made the decision to allow it to be in here, you opened up, whether you knew it or not, probably 4,000 to 5,000 extra kids that got stuff. I mean, that's pretty heady stuff right there.
Well, I think Billy was right too. It's therapeutic for people going through loss. Some people, they don't know, man. With as bad as the world feels to me on a lot of days, and I'm talking about how we don't get along. I'm not trying to get into politics. It's just a lot of mess out there that for some reason, and I've said this, so I'm not going to get in trouble, but I have 1,000 employees that work for us on a day-to-day basis. And I would bet 200 to 300, I don't know what the number is, eventually volunteer. And one of the things I've said is some of the harder-edged employees are who I see out here, and that edge comes off. And I'm not saying they're bad people, but we all have a little different. I mean, I have a 22 and a 30-year-old son. I mean, they're great kids, I think. They do good things, I think. But the truth is, I can't get them to volunteer for me to do stuff around the house. They would miss this. They are driving back from Louisville, Kentucky today to be here all day tomorrow. And my point is, I didn't make them do that. I don't ask them to do that. I can't get them to do things I want them to do. And so it means something to that person. It means something to this man. Like I said, he has severe hip problems, and he just is trying to drag a bag to help someone. Whether it's therapeutic for reasons of loss, I'm like you. I don't enjoy Christmas because I don't have the young ones. I'm not young anymore. I don't enjoy
not about
that.
us anymore.
No, that's right. That's right. It's and you know what?
Apparently, it's about Billy.
Anybody but us. I mean, we're the washed up ones over in the corner. We.
This is our Christmas in here.
No doubt. And your word. The first year this happened, Dale was here, and I came out here, and I was standing about right where we are, And as Billy was showing earlier, that door where you walk out, it's just kind of the entrance into the place. And what happened, 2 or 3 people in was a young woman. I will never forget it. And I didn't really get it. I didn't know what was going on. We'd done some preliminary work.
Right.
We were out here, but it was the first time I saw a face of a person realize that she's going to be able to do something for somebody. And it has never left me. And I feel like that. And I've heard that today. I've heard people tell me, man, I've seen tears. And I think, I don't want to see people sad. I just think it's amazing that we, as a part of this, get to be a part of someone's better Christmas. I mean, it's not cliche or corny. I feel spirit. I don't know what that means.
Man, thanks for what you've done, because it has opened up. It has allowed this charity to get to its full potential. And that I do know. Well,
so you'll get a kick out of the Dale and Kelly Roble obviously are the last minute choice. On the sheriff's office side, it's a man named Mike Raines. Now, Mike Raines been with us for 30 years. This building he used to oversee this building. And so when I approached him and said, hey, we got this little idea. I didn't tell him how big it was going to be or what we didn't know. But
what are you doing?
Yeah, he goes, yeah, that sounds cool. Well, cool meant the small kind of church.
He had no clue what cool really meant.
There goes Mike right there, by the way. So, so he lived out here. He lived out and ran this facility. And so, the first year it was just like overwhelming. Well, the cool part of the story is 7, 8 years later, 6, 7, whatever it is, Mike got this significant promotion in the last 4 months. He's the number 2, 3 person in the agency now, been here 30 plus years with us. But one of the conditions of the promotion are, can you make sure the toy store works from afar, because he's now down in a different building. Yeah. And so we've had some fun with him all week saying, hey, the promotion's great, but we got to make sure that the store is working. So I think everybody pitched in. Hopefully we don't miss a beat.
For the record, although I didn't feel this way the morning after the bowling event, there will be a 4th annual. I'm not sure the day after there was going to be a 4th annual, but there will be a 4th annual. I hope you'll be a part of it, and I can't thank you enough, number one, for taking the time to come on with us. But for what you've done for this, it's incredible.
Well, I thank you for everything. I'm a huge sports fan. I give you a lot of credit for bringing the Titans here. My son's begging for the new stadiums. I was telling him how hard it was to get done the first time. And we've even had a few sporting events away from here that we've run into over the years, a lot of mutual friends. And I'll be at anything you ever do. And it doesn't have to be the toy store, whatever you need.
Thank you.
Hope you have a great holiday, and thank you for having me.
Sheriff.
Merry Christmas to you and your family. Pretty cool stuff. I know when he walks through here that he sees the impact. After the break, here's what we're going to do. We're going to do the update without Kelly. What a blessing that'll be.
That's going to be fun.
Yeah, we'll do an update, but we'll sort of do it with the camera panned over some of the activity where people can kind of see a little bit of the flavor of why do I get so fired up about this? Because I see it, and I want you all to see it. Stay tuned. We're back in a moment.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, you need to call Bart Durham. And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah. Sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonleyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic, name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs. Okay, there will be sports as part of this show today. Mark Griffin will join us in a few minutes. What we want you to see is a little bit of the sights of what goes on while we do our update. Let's face it, you all have seen us. It's not a pretty picture, but this is. And this is the Last Minute Toy Store, and this is why we do what we do to help them.
It's awesome. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool.
Pretty cool to be out here. George, want to get to a few notes here.
Okay.
I know we're getting to Mark Griffin here in a second, but I'll start with the NFL. Brandon Staley has been fired after the Raiders' historic rout over the Chargers last night, 63-21.
As I went to bed, I said, there's no way they're keeping him. First of all, I've been shocked it lasted this long.
Yeah.
And you heard me say yesterday, what are they waiting on? And when they got beat in the 60s by a Raiders team that, frankly, isn't all that good, you knew it was probably going to happen today.
GM Tom Telesco also let go 4 days after the Raiders lost 3-0. They didn't put up any points. They put up 63. So Raiders,
crazy.
This probably says more about the Chargers, I think, but Raiders set a franchise scoring record. They topped their team's 59-14 victory at Denver in 2010. It was the most points allowed by the Chargers, who gave up 57 to the St. Louis Rams back in 2000. So all kinds of different records being thrown around last night. Meanwhile, George, Easton Stick, I thought he played in a 63-21 loss, played pretty well. Al Michaels and Herbie were joking about that last night. Stick actually did his part somewhat. So Staley is out in Los Angeles.
I believe that this is the Charger job is a diamond in the rough that somebody is going to go in there and clean up all the BS. They've got a great quarterback. They've got a lot of weapons. Somebody is going to go in there and make the Chargers what they truly should be.
They've got the pieces. They got the quarterback.
Sure they do.
They've got a great defense with Khalil Mack. Obviously, it didn't show last night, but I mean,
didn't matter last night.
Yeah, it didn't matter. George, you got 3 games tomorrow at noon. Vikings at the Bengals. Bengals favored by 3. Tough test for Jake Browning. The Bengals are 4-0 against NFC teams this season, and they've won 8 straight against the conference. So we'll see what happens in that one tomorrow. 3:30, Steelers at the Colts. Colts favored slightly, 1.5.
Barely.
Huge for the AFC wildcard race. Interesting stat I found on this, George. Steelers have won 8 straight against the Colts.
Yeah, and one of them was a big playoff victory when Peyton Manning was in Indy.
Yep. Colts' last win was
bad moment for Indy.
2008 with Peyton under center. So
Yeah.
that was their last win over the Steelers. 7:15 tomorrow night, Broncos at the Lions. Detroit favored by 4.5. So a little reunion for Dan Campbell and his mentor, Sean Payton. It'll be fun tomorrow night. Speaking of the NFL.
That's a big game.
Big game.
Detroit's got to get their act back in gear. In the last month, they have had some serious slippage, period.
Former NFL quarterback Tim Hasselbeck has been named the new head coach at Ensworth.
Really?
Yep.
You know, I was hearing Ricky Bowers, which was an easy rumor to make up. Tim Hasselbeck will do a great job.
He will. He's a Nashville native,
Yes.
not native, but resident.
Has moved here.
I want to say, is it his daughter that plays lacrosse at Vandy? I want to say, or is that Matt?
I don't know.
One of them has a daughter at Vandy, so
yeah,
and they love Nashville. They're both, of course. Matt played right for the Titans for a little bit. Tim, of course, I'm sure they both might have places in Nashville, but Tim Hasselbeck, next head coach at Ensworth. College football, George. I said this was yesterday, but how about this move from Nick Saban? Did you hear about this? Alabama has hired former Michigan assistant George Hilo to its coaching staff ahead of their matchup against the Wolverines. He did not coach this season.
Right.
But he was on staff under Jim Harbaugh in 2021 and 2022.
So he's an analyst. Now, let me tell you what that really means. They're going to take him into a room and basically say, give us all the dirt.
Yes.
Tell us all the formations. Give us this, give us that. And it's basically sort of saying to Michigan, you're going to have to change your signals and change your tendencies.
Yeah,
That's what it says.
He'll be one of the Crimson Tide's 10 on-field assistants is what this
Wow.
story says. Crazy. I meant to get to it yesterday, but a wild story out of Alabama. A couple baseball notes, George, before we get to Griff. After signing Shohei Ohtani, the Dodgers are on the verge of landing one of the best starting pitchers this offseason, Tyler Glasnow. The sides have agreed on an extension for 5 years and $135 million. No deferred money, though.
Yeah, which probably means the Braves and Dylan Cease or the Braves and Shane Bieber. I think they're going to get one of the two.
Yeah.
Hey, give me a shift of the camera over to the Little Tykes area over there. Let's show that for a minute. Excellent.
Little Tykes.
Yes.
Tampa Bay Rays co-president Brian Auld. I don't know if you know him, George, or have seen this story, but he told the St. Petersburg City Council yesterday that the franchise will not agree to any ballpark deal that requires the team to change its name. Former St. Petersburg Mayor Rick Baker had previously suggested the city stipulate that the Rays swap out Tampa Bay for St. Petersburg in exchange for land development rights and an estimated $600 million in public financing. He said, within the context of this issue, there will not be a new ballpark nor a development project if there's a requirement to change our franchise's name.
That may be part of the reason that you did not hear more at the winter meetings. Period.
Probably so.
Probably is.
Preds Canes tonight, 6:30, ESPN+.
By the way, when you see those big old, what look like hefty trash bags, those are bags with toys that families are getting.
Those are the basically Christmas bags.
It's all in those bags.
I was walking around. I needed to throw my plate away earlier, and
that's
not in there.
No, that's not where you put it. Okay, done with the update.
Yep.
Keep the camera there. We'll go to the break, and then Mark Griffin will join us for a quick segment on college basketball. There he is. Hopefully, Griff can see what we're doing at Last Minute Toy Store. Stay tuned. We're coming back.
Forget the fact that Sir Speedy Music City is owned by my BGA classmate James Warren. Their work stands on its own merit. James and his staff do incredible work, as evidenced by the huge banners at the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. If you're looking for quality to help your marketing and business communications, and you want it at a reasonable price, these are your folks. Call them at 832-9511 or go to print at sirspeedymusiccity.com. And be sure to tell them Plaz sent you.
Family owned and operated for more than 2 decades, Alaco Fine Wood Floors is Nashville and Middle Tennessee's choice for premium quality hardwood floors. Since 1995, Jimmy Alaco and his army of employees have embodied the approach of taking pride in one's craft and providing superior customer service, growing from a one-man shop to a team of 23 professionals who share the founder's passion for quality craftsmanship and customer satisfaction. If you are interested in contacting them, you can find their headquarters at 2505 Winford Avenue in Berry Hill, or give them a call at 615-356-0303. Again, that's 615-356-0303, or log on to alacofinewoodfloors.com. Alaco Fine Wood Floors, serving Middle Tennessee's hardwood flooring needs since 1995.
Over the years, more men have started to seek help for hormone deficiencies and imbalances, and Dr. Jeffrey Lodge and wife Daphne, along with their experienced staff, give men the treatment required to improve their quality of life, improve your immune system, energy level, cognitive function, and more. There's no better time to achieve a healthy lifestyle. What are you waiting for? Give Cool Springs MD a call today for an appointment at 615-486-3458 or visit the website coolspringsmd.com.
For over 35 years, Wilson Bank & Trust has been committed to providing customized banking solutions to help individuals, families, and businesses in Tennessee achieve their goals. As your full-service community bank, we are proud to offer loans with competitive rates, local decision-making, and fast, friendly service from our experienced lenders. No matter where you are on your financial journey, Wilson Bank & Trust is ready to help you take the next step. Visit your nearest Wilson Bank & Trust office or online at wilsonbank.com to get started today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Of you can tell I'm pretty fired up today. This is one of my favorite days of the year. The opening of the Last Minute Toy Store. It will run not only today, tomorrow, and half a day on Sunday. And somewhere in the neighborhood of 7,600 families will benefit from this. It's incredible what is going on. And it's the reason that I've gotten so involved in it. I've never seen a charity like this in my life. However, we're also a sports talk show, so let's say hello to our buddy, former University of Tennessee star, Mark Griffin. Mark, now I know you got to see some of the scenes from Last Minute Toy Store. Now you know why I asked you to be a bowler.
George, definitely honored to be a bowler. I wish I was there with you today. It's amazing what you're doing and involved with such a great charity and really able to pay it forward to these young kids. And make their holiday season brighter for all the people involved. It's such a great thing. So congratulations to everyone involved.
On to the business at hand. It looks like two coaches to me this week have emerged on the hot seat. Kenny Payne at Louisville got beat at home by Arkansas State by almost 20. And I don't pretend to think for a minute that Louisville people are okay with this.
Well, you know what, George? I looked up his record, and you'll get a kick out of this being a baseball guy. He is below the Mendoza line. How about that? 8-34.
That is bad.
190%. I don't know anybody that's a 19% winning percentage that is getting a paycheck in this country. But for some reason, Kenny Payne's still doing it. And they say he's a great guy. Maybe he is a great guy. But like Leon DeRocher put in his book, nice guys finish last. And he's definitely an example of that.
Well, you would think by now that there would have been more progress at Louisville. We'll kind of watch that one closely. What about Juwan Howard at Michigan? Because there are rumblings that this could be over like by the end of the weekend.
Yeah, what's funny, George, is what I did some research, and you're aware of this, is alleged confrontation with the strength and conditioning coach. Well, it was bad enough for this strength and conditioning coach to file a claim to HR, which, you know, Juwan Howard's already under a zero tolerance policy, which means you screw up one more time, you're out. And, you know, back in, 2022 during the post-game handshake line with Wisconsin.
Oh, gosh, yes.
Once the assistant coach, and that's not the only time that he's had issues. In 2021 against then Maryland's coach, Mark Turgeon, little Mark Turgeon, had confrontation with him. So there's a long history here with Juwan Howard. What amazes me, George, is you're not really hearing about this a lot on ESPN on a daily basis or anything. And I don't know if it's the Michigan Power people got behind this because of all what's happened in football, but you're not hearing a lot about this, George.
Yeah, you're right. It's gone a little bit under the radar, but at some point it is going to surface. Mark, tonight we got a game at 9:00 that a college basketball fan ought to drool about, and there it is. UConn against a Gonzaga that I'm not sure is at UConn's level. What do you think?
Wow, I tell you, you're right, George, and I actually marked this down to bring up as well. Great matchup, and it's going to be a great matchup of two great programs. A lot of talent on both sides. I like UConn in this game. I just think they've got a more talented overall team. Gonzaga, just its name alone, just brings in talent year after year with Mark Few. But I'm liking UConn in this game. But, boy, it's going to be one for me to probably turn on, to tape this game because I probably won't be up till 11.
You know what? I got here about 6:45 this morning. I might not be up at 11 either, even though, there's a part of me that will want to be. I'm not sure the body will hold until then. So Tennessee and NC State tomorrow, and you got to help me. I don't know, is the game at NC State or is it neutral site?
No, it's in San Antonio. And why San Antonio? Who's going to be there? I think it's a doubleheader. It's once again 9:00 Central. Interesting time. I'm really glad to see Coach Barnes and administration have these games against ACC schools and really beefing up their schedule. I just don't like the time, but obviously that's TV. A little backstory to NC State, George, which is noteworthy, is one of their star players is DJ Burns, who actually committed to UT way back in 2018 in the summer, never played, transferred to Winthrop, had great few years at Winthrop, and now is at NC State. He is I hate to compare him to Zion Williamson. He's not Zion Williamson, but he has that build. He's a 6'9". They list him at 275. I think he's pushing 300. Plays about 29 minutes a game. And it will be really interesting, George, to see the matchup against him playing against his former school in Tennessee. I really look forward to seeing this.
Mark, I got to laugh. They just yelled. What was it they yelled?
Box coming through.
Box coming through. Okay, in the background, you can't see this, is this huge crate of toys that just came in the last hour. And when Dale Roble, we're going to show it to you. So there are these crates of toys, and the truck that delivered all this stuff was completely full. So I heard earlier today, we need more toys, and we're going to talk about this later, but dad gum, holy cow. Oh, that's awesome.
My question, George, I got one for you. How many George Plaster bobbleheads are in that box? Though I'm sure you've got plenty in your garage.
No, I'm about out, to be honest. They have a retail value right now of 49 cents. If you go on one of these things that would tell you that. That's been, Mark, it's been 17 years ago. It was one of the most hilarious nights out at Old Greer Stadium that I've ever had. I've still got a couple, but not many. Okay,
well,
you notice I just went.
Traveled the world on social media.
It did. The joke that, the Tennessean called me because somebody took the bobblehead to Sports Center's studio. And I said at the time, well, it's the closest I'll ever get to ESPN. And that, by the way, turned out to be true. But we digress back to hoops. When it comes to Tennessee, Mark, what's your biggest fear about them right now?
My biggest fear with UT right now is if Jonas Adu gets in foul trouble, which he has had a really good year, progressed a lot. Coach Barnes has done a great job, and staff building him. He's a skinny guy, 7 foot, has really come along. You can see, and even Tennessee's strategies try to get the ball more inside. I think you kick it in to free up your perimeter players. What scares me, if he gets in foul trouble with a Waka, more limited right now offensively, big presence inside, is the inside presence of this team. I'm not as concerned with Vescovi not being on his game right now because you have so much depth. So the mainly concern is on the inside right now, George, because I think, they're shooting free throws well. They're playing defense. If Connect doesn't have a good game, you've got other guys that can step it up. So it's mainly inside, and that's what's hurt them in the past. But you got to look on the flip side of that. Tennessee's played 3 tremendous inside players early on in the season, which is only going to benefit them when they get into conference play. Tennessee's has played 10 games, and 5 of their opponents are currently in the top 25. No one can say that in the country right now. So their record has been, their opponents has been tremendous.
No, good Lord, they've taken on all comers. There's no doubt about that. So I want to get a little capsule comment from you on 2 other games on the college basketball front tomorrow. Arizona-Purdue feels to me like a defensive war, that Arizona wants to push the tempo. Purdue wants to do anything but that.
Wow. And I like you, George, I've seen Arizona play several times. Tommy Lloyd, fantastic job. Watched Purdue play a couple times too. I'm really leaning. I don't know where this game's being played, if it's at Purdue or a neutral site, but I am really leaning towards Arizona. It just seems right now, like you said, they like to have the up tempo. The word on the street is if you can contain the big guy, Zach Edey, you've got a shot to win. And a lot of teams.
Yeah, because the rest of the supporting cast is Green Hills Y material.
Yeah, that's right. And mind you, one or two guys like the lawyer guy got hot against Tennessee. And if they get one guy hot, they have a chance. But that's got to be the strategy moving forward for anyone playing Purdue, is do the hack a Shaq, if you could say. I just think Arizona's got too much talent. They've got a little depth as well, but their starting five's tremendous.
This game is in Seattle, which is a 4-hour drive from Spokane. So I guess there'd be a lot of Zags fans there.
No, we're talking Arizona Purdue.
No, wait a minute.
Oh.
No, wait a minute. You're saying UConn Gonzaga.
Oh, wrong. My bad. Wrong game. Wrong
game.
game.
Okay. You know what? If Kelly were here,
he would
roast him.
That'd be bad.
Oh, you have survived. Survived and advanced.
Okay,
Mark,
Indianapolis. Looks like this one's the Indy Classic is what it's called.
For Arizona Purdue?
Yeah.
Okay. Who wins North Carolina, Kentucky?
Is it in Indianapolis as well?
UNC Kentucky is, let's see.
Well, regardless, I'm going to go with Kentucky.
That's in Atlanta.
Okay. I'm going to go with Kentucky. I'm still big on Kentucky. You know, with Aaron Bradshaw and all their super freshmen they have. I just think they pull it together against this Carolina team for some reason. It's just a gut feeling. Haven't done a ton of research, but I just feel good about Kentucky and Atlanta to pull out a win. I think I don't even think I think it'll be greater than 5 points. I just really think Kentucky's going to get out and go. I think they're going to really work on containing Baycott inside, and I just feel good about Kentucky on this one.
Mark, thank you so much for doing this. Even though it was kind of a shorter segment, we'll do the full stuff next Friday, our final show before Christmas, and know how thankful we are for what you do for us.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks to you guys. Really honored to be on and share this moment with you. And George, really glad that you're actually there at 6:30 or 6:45 in the morning. So congratulations.
I'm just glad when I woke up that I got out of bed. Thanks, Mark.
All right. See you guys.
For there was a part of me that considered saying, I need another hour. But we digress. Okay, after the break, we'll go stat of the day. Then Coach Watson Brown will join us to talk a little bit of bowl stuff, but also some philosophical college football. Dale Roble will join us around 3:25. I guess you might call him the daddy of the Last Minute Toy Store.
Yeah.
What they've done is remarkable.
He's a miracle worker.
Oh, my God. We're going to show you some more of the sights of what this is really all about. And then we'll close out the show late in the 3 o'clock hour with my vision, which has been blurry at best, of the Titans and the Texans. Remember, I'm the one that said the Dolphins would win 38-14 in a rout. Boy, did the Titans shove that one up my butt. Mm-hmm. Stay tuned. We're coming back.
Convenience and value, 2 words that we expect when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to deliver just that, both to our school partners and to our customers. Whether you're purchasing photos, yearbooks, class jewelry, letter jackets, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience easy, convenient, and cost-effective. Find out more at jhacompany.com or call 615-867-6345 for more information. JHA, one source, one company.
You were in a crash.
Yeah.
Your kids were in the car with you.
We're very lucky to even be telling this story to you. Nikki treated us like family, and she was very caring and loving, and I'm just so grateful for that. She was somebody I could trust, and being a veteran, that's so important to me. My kids are going to have a better life now because I don't have to worry about those expenses that we were out. Your family has really created a legacy of trust, and I would recommend you to anyone.
Star Physical Therapy was established in 1997 with one great mission: to serve. If you're hurting, don't wait to receive physical therapy. You don't need a referral to see their physical therapist, and early morning and evening appointments are available. Make the call to 615-673-1420 and get rid of that pain. Star Physical Therapy, the official health provider of Football Friday.
All right, I'm here with my buddy Chip Ward from Lincoln Home Loans. And Chip, it's football season, and it's also, it feels like it's moving season every time of the year, especially here in Nashville. Tell us about your business, Chip, and kind of introduce people to who you are and what you do here in the Nashville area.
Well, you're exactly right, Billy. It is definitely moving season, as it is most times, especially right here after Labor Day. Kids are back in school, and people are starting to think they want to get settled in before the holidays. And so what we are doing is right now we are getting a lot of people pre-approved for home loans. Inventory has ticked up a little bit. You know, it has been down, but it's rebounding a little bit. And right now is a good time to buy.
Chip, real quick before I let you go, tell people how they can reach you. And if someone is interested in your business, how would they reach out to you?
Well, sure. At Lincoln Home Loans, you can reach me at 615-500-7579. My URL for my application page is chipward.net, and my email address is simply chip@chipward.net. And so I'd love to hear from anybody. I can answer any questions about the whole home buying and financing process.
Top of the hour on a Friday. Big weekend ahead. We got 3 NFL games tomorrow. We got a lot going on Sunday, of course, but let's get to stat of the day first. We'll see what Matthew's got cooked up for us. Brought to you by John English Antique Sports and Cards. Here we go. Tyreek Hill is currently on pace to become the first receiver to ever have 2,000 receiving yards in a season. Who are the only 2 receivers to ever have 1,900 yards in a season?
Oh, wow. You know what? Why don't we dump this in Watson's lap?
I'm sure he'll love that.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck? He's sitting back at his palatial mansion in Cookeville. Watson, how are you?
Lord. Hey, misery. My brain is fried, man. I haven't done this in a while. I have to train myself for this.
Okay, would Jerry Rice have ever gotten to that
Jerry
number?
Rice would have been my number one thought.
Okay.
Yes, that was my number one thought.
Then let's go with Jerry Rice. Let me try one that's not off the beaten path, but given that Russell Wilson was such a good long ball thrower, could it be Metcalf?
Oh, gosh. I don't think so.
Okay.
That would be a young one. Is there a guy in between Jerry Rice and Tyreek Hill time that we're missing here?
Oh, there probably is. And why don't we just, what the heck, go ahead and take a look at it, and then we'll gasp.
It wouldn't have been Gronk. It wouldn't have been a tight end. He couldn't have had that many.
Let's see what it is.
Yeah, let's see what it is.
Calvin Johnson and Cooper Kupp.
Yep.
Wow.
I would
Makes
never
sense. Yeah.
I would have never guessed those
Calvin
2.
Johnson, if you'd have mentioned that name, I'd have said yes. I would have said yes to that one.
By the way, I don't think our guesses were all that bad.
No,
now, they're not
How
correct.
could you not throw out Jerry Rice?
Yeah.
I mean, geez.
That has to be one that we talk about. So, Watson, before we start, I want to let you know we're going to take the camera. We're at Last Minute Toy Store, which is at the sheriff's huge warehouse. And so they'll see that you're on the phone, but they're going to see scenes of what it is so fires me up. So, Billy, go ahead and adjust the camera. however you want to, and Watson and I will talk over all of this. So, Watson, I've got the feeling that a bunch of SEC coaches who saw once and for all what their schedules were going to look like a couple of nights ago absolutely gasp in horror, because there are these 4-game stretches where you know in your heart the days of 12-0 are over. If you go 12-0, you're going to get annexed to the NFC South, and the Falcons will join the SEC, and 11-1 will feel like a miracle.
Why do you think they went to 12 games, George, in the playoff?
Gosh.
I mean, this is the exact reason that the SEC, they denied, but they fought like the Dickens, I've been told, to get to 12. I think they told Oklahoma and Texas that we're going to get this thing to 12. So you're not going to have to go undefeated like we've been having to do to get there.
Right.
And all this goes together to me. But it's one more game everybody's having to play, either Texas or Oklahoma, and everybody's complaining. It's the toughest league in the country. I can vouch for that. And it's just the facts of life. If you better be pretty good. And if you are pretty good, you should be in that 12 teams if you got a really good record at the end of this route.
So let me ask you this, because this is going to come up starting next year, and you know it is. The committee is going to have to weigh near the bottom, near numbers 11 and 12, an 8-4 SEC or a 9-3 SEC versus an 11-1 out of, we'll make up the Mountain West. Are they smart enough to realize what really is what?
I don't know. They were smart enough to hold it off for a year. I just don't know if ESPN will let them hold it off, George. They need those games, man. And we're fixing to see the power of the dollar, in my opinion, in this next meetings for it to go to 9. I'll bet you it goes to 9.
Do you really? I mean, when I see that, Watson, it's suicide.
Not when you got 12 teams. When you got 12 teams getting in, George, there will be 2 lost teams, a bunch of them in there, in my opinion. There will be 2 lost teams from the Big Ten or the SEC. You watch. There will be 2 lost teams, and 2 more from the SEC and 2 more from the Big Ten. This isn't going to drop down into the group of 5s or any of that. They're going to want to get more of their own people in my opinion.
Okay. Do you think I'm right that the days of 12-0 in the SEC, they ended Wednesday night with that schedule show? That's never going to happen again.
Probably not, because you've heard me say it 1 million times. I was asked all the time, when you were at Vanderbilt, how was it playing Alabama? I said, it wasn't playing Alabama. It was playing Alabama, then Georgia, then Florida, then Tennessee, then Ole Miss. And now I think you adding 2 that you're adding in Texas and Oklahoma, it's just adding another tough game. And I think the 1 loss now will be what you'll see in the SEC instead of undefeated.
Okay, starting tomorrow, we have what I call Capital One Bowl Month. And we've got a bunch of games tomorrow that are more in the group of 5 and that type of thing. You don't have a lot of, Michigan, Alabama on the 16th of December. But it does seem to me that as you try to figure out, okay, where are these bowl games going, that you've really got to look behind the curtain to figure out who opted out, try to get a sense of, does anybody on this particular team really care? For instance, does Georgia really care now that they've had the rug, pulled out from under them and they have no chance at a three-peat? Isn't that what this whole bowl thing now is about?
George, what's happened, I think you're onto something, and here's the way I see it. The early games between the group of fives will be the best bowls because they're excited to be there. The ones now that aren't going to be very good, and it's going to be, well, which one's ready to play, is those in-between games where all those kids are pulling out. I think my brother's got a bunch. And when that happens, now you say, well, which one's going to be ready to play? Who's got their quarterback? Those are the games I think are going to fall off and won't be as much fun to watch. The early ones and the late ones, the Orange Bowls up to the Final Four, those kind of games will be fun. And the early ones with all the group of fives playing each other, I think will be fun.
Will anybody step up at the coaches' convention to say we ought to have the right to a contract with the player? If he's going to take NIL money, he has to agree to play in the bowl if he's not injured.
Heavens no. Ain't happening, buddy. That'd be a kiss of death for a coach to make that statement. I'm telling you. You watch them all. They're all acting like they're hugging them and loving on them, and you have every right to do this, and they're steaming underneath that they're not playing. But they're not going to pop out and make that statement. I'm telling you. The one thing I think you'll start seeing happen, though, the money, they're going to start not giving it out in pieces to these kids. And then if they don't play in the last one, there might be a big hunk of cash they don't get till after that date. That's what I think you might start see happening.
Do you realize, and I'm going to throw this to Billy in a minute, I bet you've thought about it. So at the time you accepted Vandy, Alabama was all over you. You realize you could be a rich man today if NIL had existed then?
Thank you, George.
You're welcome.
That's nice of you.
Merry Christmas.
To say that. It's going to be a high draft choice in baseball. Turn that down. Good. Go to Alabama. Turn that down. I mean, yeah, thank you very much. They tell me when you retire, George, you should not think back. And you just put a hard think back on me, buddy. So I owe you one on that one.
Merry Christmas.
Watson,
Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Watson, how about this move from Saban? We talked about this earlier, and I would have loved to have you in this for the update to get your initial reaction, but he has hired former Michigan assistant George Hilo to his coaching staff. He didn't coach this year, but he coached 21 and 22 under Harbaugh. When you saw that, what did you think? And I mean, to me, I just started laughing. I couldn't believe Saban did that, but at the end of the day, I mean, it's allowed.
Well, if he plays Washington, he'll hire Chris Peterson for a 2-week contract.
Touche. I'm telling you now, that's the man. He's figure out how to win a game, period. He's got money, so why not? Mm-hmm. I'm surprised he don't bring in one on both sides of the ball, one on offense, one on defense. I mean, figure out a way to win a game, man, and if you got the money to throw it around, throw it around. I would love to know the number of people on Nick Saban's staff, counting all these analysts and everything else known to man. I would love to know how many. I watch basketball games, Billy, all the time, and there's more coaches than players on the benches.
Yeah, sure is.
Football may get to the same thing here pretty quick.
Watson, back. I want to go to that other game, Texas and Washington. I know we're a ways away still from that matchup, but when you look at that, to me, I can't get a read on that. Texas, of course, is talented. They're physical. But Washington, everybody keeps writing them off. I mean, this isn't just – you see this as a Texas to the national title? Because I've heard that a lot. But, I mean, what do you look at in that matchup?
No, I think it's going to the wire, maybe who has the ball last. There is going to be a ton – this will be a great game. There's going to be a ton of points scored. It's going up and down the field, and if you count Washington out, you're nuts. I don't know what the point spread is right now, but if Washington has got any at all, take them, because I'm telling you, this thing is going to the wire. Washington is much better than you think, because I think Oregon is very good, and they beat those guys twice.
Were you surprised Jaden Daniels won the Heisman over whether it was Bo Nix or Penix?
And a little bit just because of the way they've always done it. They've just never usually let a guy win it with that many losses and not really playing for something at the end of the year. But if you do it by who had the best year and who did the most for his team, in my personal opinion, it wasn't even close. So thank goodness they looked at it in the right way instead of the way I've seen them do it for many, many years.
So you agreed with the Daniels Heisman.
He'd have got my vote if I was voting. Absolutely.
Okay, one more for me. Who do you got in the Alabama-Michigan matchup? I mean, you got Alabama?
Alabama, Michigan looks at them. You could have, I'm telling you, you look at the players' eyes when they found out who they're playing. I mean,
they didn't seem overly excited, did they?
Oh, Lord, no. I'm telling you, when you ain't beat somebody and then that's who you get again, and they've had all the heat, because when they get there, they don't make anything happen when they get to this point in time in the season, and here they are again. And I'll be shocked if Michigan beats Alabama. Absolutely shocked.
Watson, I got a theory for you, and I want to shoot it at you. If Georgia had beaten TCU 35-24 last year in the title game, instead of whatever, 63-14 or 63-7, Florida State would have gotten in this year. They were scared to death of another route.
I think Florida State would have got in if Georgia had beaten Alabama. I think they would have gotten in over Texas. But, George, too much heat in the room on three ways. Number one, no SEC team in the game. Number two, Alabama's sitting there, and they're not in the game. Number three, ESPN is breathing down your neck because they do not want to see Florida State in this thing without their quarterback. I just think it's too much heat on the committee to put them in.
Okay, you and I have both thrown that out there, that ESPN behind the scenes, not that they were dictating terms, but they darn sure were letting their opinion be known. We're not hearing that at all in the discussion of this.
Oh, it don't take much. I mean, you can get one little quick phone call from a top dog at ESPN to one of the coaches on the committee or athletic directors on the committee. It wouldn't take much at all. And you wouldn't have to even say it, George. You could just hint around. We're not real fond of this. I just think Florida State can't be near as good without their quarterback. That's all you got to do. So you don't have to say, put them in for ratings. And that's how they can say, and nobody can say they did that. But I think they could feel the breath on the back of their neck as they were making those decisions.
Okay, last thing for you. What's the best college football bowl game tomorrow?
Tomorrow, I'm going to say the FCS playoff game's the best game tomorrow.
That's probably right.
I think those will be really good games. The one tonight, the one tomorrow will be really, really good games. That's what I'm looking forward to watching.
I love your answer.
That's a good answer.
That was a very intelligent answer. By the way, it'll be cold.
Not very intelligent, but
it'll be cold at those games.
Tells me Watson watches football on Saturdays.
Well, I've been watching it too. I mean, some of those games have been very enjoyable.
Who is it, Watson?
No, I'll watch the games. I will absolutely watch every one of the games. I'm a big bowl guy. I am.
Yep.
I'm worried about those middle bowls now, guys, with that many people pulling out for the NFL draft or the NIL stuff, transfer portal. I'm worried about those big schools, those middle of the pack schools in the SEC, Big Ten, ACC, Big 12. So many kids pulling out, man. You could have some really bad games stuck in there.
You might see some walk-on quarterbacks, legitimately.
I'm telling you. Well, my brother's going to play once. I don't know if he's been in maybe 10 snaps in a game.
Yeah.
Gosh. That's such a shame.
I mean, and here's a team that was ranked 10th at one point during the season. And now here they've got their quarterbacks pulled out, which have every right to do. I'm not saying that, but what it does, man, is it just now I don't know how these guys in Vegas do it anymore, guys. Now, what do they do? I mean, you got to say, well, his quarterback's not playing, his is. Okay, there's 2 more points toward this team. I mean, I don't know how they do it.
They're doing it with a Ouija board.
I'll say this,
That's about the way you bet, too, with a Ouija board.
Boise State has their running back playing tomorrow night, Ashton Jeanty. He's really good, and I think he announced he's coming back next year.
Who is this?
Ashton Jeanty. I don't know if you've
At
seen
where?
him. I'm sure at Boise.
Okay. Yeah.
Great running back. He's playing tomorrow night for them. So every now and then.
I've told you they're going to win tomorrow night, and we'll see that in Plaster Bet of the Day, which has put together a standard of excellence, Watson. In spite of your cheap
have we been
shot.
better this year?
Oh, we've been very
better?
good. We have been extremely good. Perhaps if you kept up with the show in retirement, you would know that.
What a shot, man.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. And you're doing well with Kelly breathing down your neck all the time, huh?
You know what? If you think I pay any attention to his gibberish, God. Watson,
Well,
you thought
who's winning underdogs? Who's winning
I'm
underdogs?
in dead last.
Oh,
It's
and that's the 1 year I don't do it, and you're in dead last.
Yeah,
For
Willie.
God's sakes, I mean, I like misery, man. I would have loved to still been doing it if you're dead last.
Willie is in first place. Kelly kind of breathing down his neck, and then Pogie and I are bringing up the rear.
You and Pogie, the old man, bringing up the rear, huh?
No kidding.
Yeah, well.
Hey.
But you're doing good in Bet of the Day. Which one'd you rather be good at?
Bet of the Day. It's
Absolutely.
a standard. It's a standard of excellence.
There you go, buddy. There you go.
Hey, we'll talk Monday.
All right, guys. Good to be
Thanks,
on with you.
Watson.
See ya.
He's a good one.
Sure is.
He knows his football.
I love that answer. FCS championship.
That's a good answer. After the break, assuming we can corral him, Dale Roble will join us. What you're seeing are scenes from today's last-minute toy store. In fact, Billy, if you will, turn it around where more of the action at the moment is going on with the kids in the ages of 4 to 10 as a new batch of families roll in. So far today, and I wrote it down, somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,800 families have been served thus far today. We're back with more. Please stay with us.
It was the most horrible experience that any mother could ever go through. I knew that I needed to get help. My friend, she immediately said, "You need to call Bart Durham." And you guys were there within an hour. You guys are like family for us.
Yeah, sure is nice to connect with the people that you're doing your best to help.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
I'm Watson Brown.
I'm Kelly Holcomb.
I'm Billy Derrick.
We're the George Plaster Show. We've been Nashville's best sports talk for the last 30 years. And you know what? We still are.
Catch us live weekdays from 2 to 4 p.m. Central Time in Nashville on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, the podcast version is available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Looking for more than just awards and trophies? Southern Trophy House is your one-stop solution. For over 60 years, their team has created lasting impressions with a personalized touch. From embroidery to screen-printed apparel to corporate awards, signs, and name badges, they have everything you need to keep your brand shining bright. With their knowledgeable customer service team, you can relax as they create, produce, pack, and ship merchandise and awards on time and on budget. That includes etched crystal awards, custom-cut acrylic name badges, embroidered Richardson ball caps, banners, screen-printed T-shirts, laser-engraved Yeti cups, and knives. Recognize your hard-working team from Southern Trophy House, where they do their best to help you recognize your best. Located at 2705 Nolensville Pike in Nashville, give them a holler, 615-256-7295. Visit southerntrophy.com. Southern Trophy House, for all your personalization and recognition needs.
So we are back, and day one of Last Minute Toy Store is totally underway. Over 1,800 kids they may not know it yet, but they have gotten toys for Christmas because of this charity. 1,800 already in the first 5 hours of the Last Minute Toy Store. This is Dale Roble. He is the man in charge. You've seen him on our show several times. So we've been showing, and in fact, we're going to do it here in a minute. Billy, let's go ahead and turn the camera back where people see exactly what is going on in the various areas. Talk to me about how day one has gone thus far.
Well, day one has been absolutely incredible, in my opinion. We've had 7,675 children have signed up. My voice sounds like it's breaking up a little bit, doesn't it?
That's okay.
But we've had 7,675 children sign up. I think we serve coming up on 2,000 right now today. We started our day probably having enough toys to provide one or a little over one main gift toy per child, plus stocking stuffers, things like that. But today, God's really blessed us. Our toy drop-off has been flowing. We've been getting toys in droves. We've had all kinds of people and companies and businesses here helping us today. Wilson Sporting Goods and their executive staff is all here today. Hershey's is here. They didn't bring us any chocolate, but they're going to next year, I think. We've got 101st Airborne is here, and they're actually working hard, and a lot of their soldiers are here right now, and just people like you and me, that are just here making it all happen. But I think today's going fantastic. It's really going better than I could have ever expected.
Well, given that you're servicing more people in a shorter amount of time, I worried about that, but it appears that from that standpoint, from a logistical standpoint, it's gone great.
It seems like it. I mean, it couldn't be smoother than it's been. A lot of your viewers don't know this, but George did our opening and was fantastic. And
hold on,
trusting you to speak is a lot.
Hold on, Billy. That means I was here before you got out of bed.
You're correct in that.
Yes, thank you.
That's right. And I was here before you got out of bed.
No, you got that right. What time were you here?
2 something.
Oh my God!
And what time will you be done?
Yeah, I don't even know. So
you don't want to know, do
tonight,
you?
and I'll go home, sleep a little bit. I'm not sure if I have to be back that early or not, but it's been a long day, but God gives us the strength to do these kind of things. It's the best kind of tired you can be. I have people all over this place that say, I'm exhausted. My feet are tired. But that's a good thing. In today's world, we go volunteer for something and we feel like, wow, well, I'm just standing around all day. And here, you're actually really working. We're going to have 1,000 unique volunteers helping. I think you're looking on the camera there. The gentleman in the plaid shirt is with the 101st Airborne.
Yep.
One behind him there is with DCSO. I mean, these guys are fighting our country's battles. They're helping keep us safe in our communities, and then they donate their time to come out here and help other people have a great Christmas. And, I've asked all of our volunteers, how many have been ungrateful? How many people have you had upset? And almost zero. They say it's just been truly amazing, the gratitude and the thanks that people have, and even the resources that a lot of them are getting right now have been phenomenal.
Dale, talk about 2 huge gifts you got in the last 90 minutes.
Yeah,
it's phenomenal.
So Soundcheck in Nashville is a huge sponsor of the Last Minute Toy Store. It has been for a long time. Ben Jumper, Case Jumper brings by toys. They do a Christmas party every year. I usually speak at it briefly, but they collect toys, and they just brought, I can't tell you how many, crate loads, forklift pallets of toys that they brought. I think they brought.
I can say it was a bunch because I helped with it.
It was a ton
on those bicycles
and all the bikes getting them off. And about the same time, simultaneously on the front, Jelly Roll, his tractor trailer pulls up, and about the same amount of toys came out at that point. So it's just George. I'm kind of speechless, to be honest with you. You. As doing what I do and a volunteer and kind of the one responsible for this, you worry a lot and you pray a lot about where's these toys going to come from. And then it starts to happen, not just in onesies and twosies, but droves to make up the difference. And, our God is able. And that's really where our trust and our faith is that, I truly believe, when you help the least of these and those in our community that need it with asking nothing in return, I think God blesses us when we do that, and I thoroughly believe that with all of my heart, and it's like he pours out his blessings, and I do feel like that's what happens here, and that has really always been the story of the Last Minute Toy Store, and it still is.
I've told people, in particular, it really hit me a year ago. I walked out of here on that Friday night with a Christmas spirit that just was real. And it was not something I had walking in. And this has been a tough week. A bunch of us in the sports world have lost a really good friend in Frank Wycheck. And he did a lot of good. He'd have loved this event. This was right up his alley, this kind of thing in his best days. But this is what it's all about. I mean, this is what gets me into the real spirit of Christmas, is being here and seeing this.
I agree. On the Wycheck conversation, that was a gut shot and I did not know him. I met him a few times, but that was it. But it's just, life is short, life is fragile, and life can come to an abrupt end, and being a pastor and having buried friends many, many times, it breaks my heart. It breaks my heart for their family. So I certainly feel for them, and I feel for him. The Titans have done a lot for the Last Minute Toy Store, and they may not even realize it. Like the games, even Sunday, they collect through Toys for Tots, and we're the distribution point for Toys for Tots. So a lot of those gifts come right here. And people wonder, well, if I give Toys for Tots, where do they go? Well, they come to places like the Last Minute Toy Store.
Right.
And again, when you think about this amount of children that are needing help in our community, it's overwhelming. And I do get asked a lot, hey, is this awesome that you're helping 7,000 kids or 7,500 kids? Or wouldn't it be great to do 8,000? I'm saying it's actually sad, and it's actually heartbreaking that there's this much poverty in our community and this many people actually needing help. So those kind of numbers, while it's a feat, it's also very sad, and it's very heartbreaking to me. And that's why this year we're working pretty hard. Instead of just giving people a handout, we're working hard to give them a hand up as well and try to offer them a way out of poverty, and not just give them a gift while they're in it and not offer them any pathway out.
George, you were talking about the first time you went. It was in a church, right?
Correct.
On 46th and Charlotte.
I look at around now, and we walked over there to the sheds. I mean, it's so much more space, I would imagine now. And I'm looking up at the sponsors that you guys have. Do you ever look around and go, how did we ever get here? I mean,
no doubt. I mean, I think, yeah, all the time. I mean, Pastor Paul, 61st Avenue. This really, Toy Store started, from what I understand, from the Community Foundation along with Toys for Tots. And people who miss the Toys for Tots deadline, which would be October 15th, what do we do with everybody that misses a deadline?
Yep.
And they also then, October 15th, they miss a deadline for Angel Tree, Salvation Army, for all these other charities. What do we do? So they started this event, and I think it started at St. Luke's and moved over 61st Avenue. And Pastor Paul Slintz is really kind of the grandfather of the Last Minute Toy Store, and he really showed me the way. And how far it's come is truly amazing. I mean, but I think about every step. Yeah, if I look around and see Wilson Sporting Goods and Hershey's and the 101st Airborne and sitting here with George, and I remember the first time you came to the toy store, George. I mean, I don't know if you remember everything that was going on, but I remember Rick Region walked over to me and said, look, I got somebody. He didn't say, I want you to meet. He says, I've got somebody I need you to meet. And I'm not knocking on you or anything. I don't know what's going on in your world. I think I remember. But he said, this is somebody that you need to meet, and I think he needs to meet you. And I think you were going through some of your transition phase in your world, as everybody listening knows about. And, you found that day a whole new light. I think you were in it's kind of a funky time. And I remember you there that day said, this is incredible. I mean, this is incredible. No matter what I'm going through, and I know you were going a lot through in the radio world, or I'm going through a lot, you're all sitting around people who, but for this, they don't have anything.
And a woman said that to me that day. She said, this is all the Christmas my family will have. And I've never forgotten that. Yeah. And, the truth of it is, 3 years ago, I asked Dale to come over to my house, and I shared with him the vision for the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. And like everybody else, he thought I was nuts. But I knew this was something I really wanted to do. This is the best charity I've ever seen.
It's unbelievable.
It's unbelievable the good that this thing does. My only wish on my end is that I could do more, and I intend to try to do more next year with the bowling event. We added an underprivileged kids segment of that thing from 3 to 5 p.m. And Dale and Last Minute Toy Store were a huge help in that. Outdoor lighting perspectives, a huge help with that. So let me throw this one back in your lap. What's next in this? What's in your dreams and visions for this event that we don't know?
Yeah. I think we started something. It's just the 30th year of the Last Minute Toy Store. And again, I didn't start it. I wasn't the original. I have to give all the credit really to Pastor Paul on 61st Avenue, but that ran it for so many years. But this year, we've always kind of focused on toys. To be honest with you, George, we kind of got away from our mission a little bit, which this is a ministry. We are here to give hope, the hope of Jesus to as many people as we can, even to those who don't believe anything I just said right there. But we have this year started giving away Bibles to those who would want it.
A massive amount.
A massive amount. They are more kid-oriented, child-oriented, kind of like a Marvel, because that's what. But they're $18 to $9. My wife and I went outside of the toy store, used none of the funds that come in here. We were able to raise about $50,000 to $55,000 to buy these. They're extremely expensive, but we'll probably run out. But
it's probably a good thing.
It probably is. We weren't sure. We bought thousands and thousands, and our question is, hey, would you like a free Bible? And almost 99% say, my kids sure would. When they go in the room, the first stop is recovery groups. We have a lot of people here that are in poverty because they're struggling with addiction. They can find help through recovery. Next stop when they go in the room is how to get a GED. The next stop in the room is how to job placement. There's another stop in the room about we have a lot of people that do not speak English, how to do that, how to go back to college. Then they get their Bibles. We have volunteers that will actually put their child's name in there so they can go home. And then one thing we ask, again, no pressure whatsoever. Is there anything you would like us to pray with you about? They're telling me right now between 80 and 90%. We've already served some 2,000 already. 80 to 90% say 100%, I want you to pray with me. And they're wanting to pray about their situation in their life. So we've been doing that, and it's very powerful. And I think that's something we got to get better at, all of us that are in this world of trying to help people in need. It's not just about giving them a handout. This isn't just a free Walmart. This is we vet them coming in, we make sure there's a need, but then we also try to give them a hand up and a way out of poverty and a phone number and our phone number. So how can we help you stop coming here? But also I know that we serve a lot of working poor, George, and my best story so far today is there was a young lady, wouldn't say young, maybe 35, and I recognized her. She recognized me, and I was like, where do I know you from? And she said, well, you come to, and named the restaurant that she's at. And I said, wow. And she's the manager. And I said, why are you here? And she said, I have 3 children, and I work my tail off down there. And she said, I got to pay daycare. I got to do all this kind of stuff. And when I get home as a single mom with 3 kids, there's nothing left. And she said, here's a lady who has to work 50, 60 hours a week and said, if not for this, I just don't have any leftover funds to do it. To me, that is about half of what we have, which we call the working poor. And those are the people that I really want to. They don't necessarily need a hand up. Sometimes they just need somebody to say, you know what, I care about you. I'm here for you. And how can we help you? And I also see this trying to partner with some of our partners here to help metro schools. And, I work with Lawson High School and people like that. But how do we help our local schools? And how do we get involved with them and help kids get on the right path and not end up where they're having to be here?
Last thing for you. This is probably the first time you've sat down since 2 a.m. Okay,
Absolutely.
You're seeing pictures from kind of a different angle than the way you see it when you're, hustling around. And when you look at this, are you not proud of what's happened here?
Oh, George, I mean, for sure. It's very moving. And I'm always say I'm the biggest sissy in every room. That's for sure. And I get emotional, and I really don't try to think about it like that because it's hard for me to do. But yeah, I mean, say it like that. I mean, it is very emotional. But I think you give me too much credit. We do have a board of people that run this, and we have all these volunteers. Kelly, I mean, they make this happen. I am such a peon in this. It's just amazing to me the number of people that roll their sleeves up, dive in here, and go to work. Sheriff Hall, who you had an amazing interview with earlier.
Oh, my goodness.
I mean, I don't know what we would do without him, Sheriff Hall, Chief Raines, Melinda McDowell, Justin Norris that's here. I mean, we have hundreds of DCSO employees that do give their time here. It's very emotional to see that. It's, as I told you earlier, George, when I'm 55, 56 years old, but when I was a little boy and my dad would drive me to school and I'd listen to you on the radio, George.
Don't start that.
As a little boy,
Little did we know
that we'd be sitting right here, right now, right? But, it's interesting how life plays out and, the people that God puts into our path and things like that. But it's truly a blessing for sure. And getting to know you guys has been tremendous. And Billy probably doesn't get nearly the credit he deserves. He comes in here, lugs all his stuff around, hooks everything up, and it always works and it never fails, and it makes you sound good. That's hard to do.
It's hard to do.
That's hard to do. And he even throws out all these note cards about, hey, George, the Braves lost last night. You act like you're a big fan and you never watch them. But, stuff like that, but, it's a team sport, and that's what this is. But ultimately, it's about none of us. It's about the people that we serve.
Oh, amen. Okay, if somebody is hearing this, maybe this is the first time. Maybe they're new to our city and have no idea, and they're moved by what they're seeing today. Because the biggest reason I wanted to do this show out here was to sort of let people see what the words are I've been throwing out for 3 years and to get a sense that, hey, there's something pretty cool going on here. How can they help you tomorrow if they so desire?
2 ways. Actually, I haven't sat down since 2 a.m., so I don't know if we
So
still
you
need.
don't remember?
I don't. But I think you can still volunteer tomorrow. You go to lastminutetoystore.com, if not tomorrow on Sunday. The other thing is we do have a drive-through where people can go out and shop for children, and they can bring those gifts by themselves. They can also go in there and donate. I mean, we have a lot of people that say, look, you need me working and donating and not out shopping. I also know people that say, look, you don't need me shopping because I don't know what to get. But and I know other people that will say, how do I know what to get? I say, go to any store where toys are, pick out a kid about the age that you would like and say, if I was to buy a couple $100 worth of stuff, let them pick it out. They'll be more than thrilled. But we have volunteers here that will take, if 100's donated or 1,000's donated, they will take that money and they will shop with that money. I'll give you an example. Finn, young man, 16 years old, BGA. I went to Brentwood Academy. He's BGA of all things. But BGA, young man, just gave us $8,500 that he raised.
Goodness.
Think about it. Plus, he brought us a ton of toys. So, and then we have volunteers that will go out and shop with that and make it happen. So they can donate, they can give online, or they can come by and volunteer here. And the third way, if somebody's hearing this and just wants to see it in action,
come out.
They get a hold of George, get a hold of us somehow.
Yes.
Last Minute Toy Store, you can call the number. They'll put you in touch with me. We'll give you a tour here. I'll show you around. I'd be honored to do it. I mean, we're doing it today with celebrities and you know who and everybody else, but it's just telling our story because I think, like you, once they come out and see it, it kind of blows their mind. And I'd be interested in Billy's perspective because I'm not sure he's really seen this in action. It's a lot different than you think. And when you get here, what's your perspective?
I told George I didn't really know what to expect because I've seen pictures and videos, and I come in here and I'm like, what in the world? I mean, this feels like the North Pole almost, and you get everybody's smiling, everybody's laughing, everybody's happy. It's a really cool place, and I think, like George, I'll probably be coming back, every year now.
It's fantastic. And one thing we tell people, our volunteers, is, hey, we're all having bad days, but we're not the VIPs here. We're our guests, the people that we serve are. And George, frankly, if you and I show up in a bad day in a bad mood because something happened, we frankly say, hey, just go home. We're here to serve the people that need it, and they really don't care if we're having a bad day.
Right.
Because let me tell you, they're embarrassed when they walk through that door. They're embarrassed to be walking around in here, and they're certainly having a lot more bad days than we are. So,
as I said this morning to the group, you got to remember, some of these people have really had to swallow their pride to admit that they're in need of this kind of help. So let's make this the best experience for them we possibly can.
Yeah. Throw that out the door and just have a good time almost,
Enjoy it. Enjoy the spirit of giving. Enjoy the true meaning of Christmas, which I believe Jesus came because he gave. And if you don't understand the story about wrapped in swaddling clothes, you'll never understand about wrapping paper and why wrapping gifts is even so important. But it's really in that spirit that we do this for people and with people who don't even believe what I just said. But it's about all of us coming together to help those who need it most in our Nashville community. And again, I think you said this isn't a free-for-all. We truly do vet the people that come through and make sure they have need and then haven't received help from the other charities in town. So we really do our best to vet everyone here and to make sure they are somebody who is in need and not in want.
I am so proud of what you all have accomplished. I look around this room and it is just incredible. And for all the times that you don't think anything good comes out of the human race and you're down on people, and then you walk in here and you see the level of love and care that is in this room, it's just amazing. And first of all, I can't thank you enough for coming and sharing a little bit of this. Thank you for what you're doing. Thank you for coming on, and let's keep it going.
Let's do. George, Billy, both of you, just through the celebrity bowling thing. I know that's a fun night and all that, but ultimately this is what it's about. This is the end game. This is what it's used for. I do thank you for all that you have done since, I don't even remember when, 2012 maybe, I'm not sure.
Something like that.
Something like that. I even got a picture of us some of the first days that you were here. And you look exactly the same. I look a lot older or younger. I look like older now. I've aged a lot since then, but you're like formaldehyde or something. I don't get what's happening, but you just seem to never age. But I appreciate all you guys do. I appreciate Billy and how much he's done. I mean, you guys are not just guys that I know. Y'all barely become friends. You become friends of the Last Minute Toy Store. It means the world to me, but mostly it means a lot to these kids. But I'm proud to sit here, proud to know you, and proud to talk to you every single time I have the opportunity. So God bless you.
Thanks, Dale.
Thanks,
God bless
buddy.
you, Billy.
Okay, man, that about says it all. And now I'm going to do something silly and go tail of the tape of the Titans to close the show. This is one person's vision.
Welcome to the high school edition of Football Friday, brought to you in part by...
Hit a wrong button there, didn't we? So here goes. And remember that I butchered Monday night. I had 38-14 Dolphins in a romp. And the truth of it is most of you did as well. So the game is at Nissan Stadium, so the check mark goes to the Titans. I think the running game with Derrick Henry goes to the Titans. Barely do I give the passing game to the Titans, mostly because I don't think C.J. Stroud is going to play in this game. And somebody who knows a whole lot more about it than I do, John McClain, is the one putting that out there. Defensively, right now, you got to give the check mark to the Texans. They have been really good on the defensive end. Their kicking game, we might move that to right in the middle because the young guy that came in Monday night for the Titans did a whale of a job.
Yeah, he sure did.
Intangibles. I think the win over Miami will create a little buzz on Sunday that wasn't going to be there. That's a huge win. It might be as big an upset as we've had in pro football this year.
Yeah.
And then on the Texans side, C.J. Stroud. Now, it may be a game time decision, but I'm going to kind of trust John McClain and say I don't think he's playing.
You've heard it from other people too. It doesn't look looks like Mills is going to go.
This is going to be a low-scoring game, I think, and it ultimately will be the Titans, because they're the home team, winning 20-17.
There you go.
Billy, our work is done, at least on this show. However,
what about bet of the day?
Oh, that's right.
How could you forgot about your own bet of the day?
Yeah, I did. I did, partly because I'm ready to get back to the volunteering part of this.
Well,
I love being able to volunteer at this. It is a blast for me.
That's awesome.
Okay, so go.
Bart Durham injury law brings us bet of the day results. Raiders won last night, obviously, if you didn't know.
In a rout, and it got, if you're just joining us, it got Brandon Staley fired today, which for me was no surprise.
No surprise.
I've been wondering what took this long.
Yeah. What do you got, George?
Okay, so let's punch up all this stuff. Boise State's been on a roll. They should not be the underdog. The wrong team is favored. Boise State wins this bowl game.
I agree.
And closes out their season the way they closed out the regular season, in style. You see where I've got the Titans in a wire job, close to the end, but the Titans cover at 2.5, not 3. If you get it at 3, be a little more concerned. Go to the next page. 2 more on here. KC's pissed off. This is sort of the put up or shut up time.
Yep.
They go to New England, which can't score. And if KC gets anything done on offense, even though it's a 7-point spread, they're going to cover. And then tomorrow night, I'm taking the Lions. They are hearing a lot of people start to dog them, that they're not as good as San Fran or Dallas or Philly, that they're a level below. Earlier in the season, people had them right there with that threesome. Detroit, this is a big, big game for them.
They need it.
They need it. And because they're at home, I think they're going to get it.
They've lost 2 of their last 3. Broncos, meanwhile, are hot. They've won
Broncos
6 of their
are
last 7. Well, it's the test for the Broncos, too, to see how for real they are.
This is going to be a really big game.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Preds play Carolina tonight on the road. That will not be easy. Alexander Ovechkin comes into town tomorrow night, 7 o'clock at Bridgestone. Thanks to everybody. Billy, thank you to you for making this happen. This was a show I really wanted to do. I want people to see what it is has me so fired up, so that a year from now, when I ask people to help me in the bowling, I need some of you to step up and help me, because we're doing it for the best cause I know. All of you have a great weekend. Billy, see you on Monday.
See you Monday.